Welcome back, YouTube. It is Saiko, and today we are here back with another video in our 30 teams and 30 day series. And in today's video, we're going to be covering the Miami Heat. But before we even get started on today's video, if you guys could please hit the like button and also hit subscribe, I would really appreciate it. Don't forget to also hit the bell for notifications so that way you don't miss out on another video. I'm also trying to reach 100 subscribers by the end of the year, so if you guys could please hit the subscribe button, I would really appreciate it as well. And I'm pretty sure that Jimmy Butler would too. This offseason for the Heat was actually really amazing in my opinion. They had one of the best off seasons this year. They let go of Andre Iguodala, Kendrick Nunn, and Nemanja Bjelica, but let's be real. These losses compared to what they gained are basically nothing. This team got Kyle Lowry in a sign and trade with the Raptors for Goran Dragic and Precious Achiuwa. This was literally one of the best signings of this offseason. PJ Tucker also signed with this team, and honestly, looking at him the past few years, he really is the definition of a guy who would really fit in Heat culture. They also re-signed Duncan Robinson to a pretty good deal for what he's worth, especially nowadays because so many guys are getting these bigger contracts. So I mean, I think it's well deserved for him. They also ended up getting Markieff Morris to pretty much play backup 4 minutes or backup 3 minutes, whatever the heck they feel like he's probably gonna do. And they also re-signed Victor Oladipo and Dwayne Dedmon as well. Oh, and you can't forget Udonis Haslem, because the dude for some reason is like 60,000 years old, but yet is still on this team as a veteran presence. I love you, UD. You're awesome. You won't be there forever, but I mean, I appreciate the hell out of you, dog. On paper, this team legitimately just looks completely stacked. And honestly, looking at them yesterday, or I guess a few days ago when this video goes up, in their first preseason game, they look pretty damn good. When it comes to what the starting lineup is going to look like, I'm pretty sure it's going to be something around the lines of what we saw in the preseason game a few days ago, but I think there will be a tweak here or there. I see Kyle Lowry running the 1, Duncan Robinson is going to be at 2, Jimmy Butler is basically going to be 3 like he always is going to be, PJ Tucker will be at 4, and Bam Adebayo is going to be at the 5. Off the bench, I see guys like Gabe Vincent, Tyler Hero, Max Strus, Markieff Morris, and either Dwayne Dedmon or Omar something, the rookie that they got in the summer league, that we saw in the summer league. I think those guys are going to be the ones taking a majority of the minutes on the bench, but obviously this is the Heat and they always run deep, so you never know what kind of lineup they might throw out there. Hell, even Udonis Haslem, despite the fact that he's basically a fossil at this point, he might end up getting minutes too. Kyle Lowry was probably the greatest player in the Raptors franchise history of all time, and now he's not even there anymore. He's on the Heat. Like I said earlier, I think he's one of the best signings of this offseason, and I mean, I don't really know what else to really say about Kyle Lowry. If you've watched basketball for the last few years, you should already know he's a champion. He's a guy who pretty much didn't really look like he was going to be a solid starting guard, and all of a sudden, he hit Toronto, became a legend there, and now he's with the Heat. He also looked really good in his first game as a member of the Heat, and I expect him to pretty much keep up that production, or at least he's just gonna be the consistent defensive guy who can shoot here and there, play defense. He's just gonna do Kyle Lowry things. Duncan Robinson legitimately just got paid in this offseason, and I'm really happy to see that, because I mean, we all know that he was this dude who came from a D3 school, went to Michigan, which was a D1 school, went undrafted. He came into the league, started shooting threes. The Cavaliers bench apparently didn't even know who he was, so they had to Google who he was. I'm just really happy for Duncan. He's basically going to be the next JJ Redick, from his shooting to his podcasting to his defense, which is just as mediocre as JJ's, but I mean, he gets paid to shoot, so I mean, what is there to complain about? And I know that Eric Spoelstra at one point, apparently, he took Duncan out for taking a long 2 instead of a 3. So, I mean, you better shoot that damn ball, Duncan. Jimmy Butler, Mr. Big Face Copy himself. He's legitimately the definition of Heat culture. He signed an extension for about like 146 million. So, I mean, he's going to be here to stay. I remember that he was a dude that he said that he didn't even want to be in a Heat jersey, or he would never see himself in a Heat jersey, but I mean, this is literally the team for him. He's a guy who is a leader. He's gonna give it his all every night. That's why he didn't work in Minnesota. That's why he didn't work in Philadelphia, because there were guys on those teams that just didn't fit his sort of mentality. But obviously on the Heat, they all do. The guy's going to score buckets in the clutch. He's going to play defense, and, maybe he might clap a few cheeks here and there, if you get what I'm saying. Is that a stupid joke? Yeah, it's a really stupid joke, but I mean, I made the joke anyways. PJ Tucker was one of the most important pieces on the Bucks championship team last year, and he's in Miami, where I wish he wasn't, but I mean, he's there. I think he's going to be able to really show that championship DNA on this team, because I mean, yeah, they have Udon, but they also have PJ, so they just have a lot of guys who are basically pit bulls in this damn locker room now. He's one of the best corner 3 shooters in the league. He plays solid defense. The man is literally built like a mini freezer, so like nothing is literally going to push him down. The man played center at like 6'5", 6'6" in Houston, so I mean, he's still gonna be solid, although he is older, so I mean, maybe he might not be able to take a beating like he has been the last few years, but I mean, he just came off a championship, so I mean, I'm still sure that he'll be solid for them. Bam Adebayo is probably my favorite player on this team. Ever since his rookie year, when he showed flashes of like all those lobs, getting blocks and everything, I really like Bam. Like, I really like Bam. And last year, he showed that he can be a pretty good passer. He's still a versatile defender, which you love to see. And I mean, he's probably a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year in my eyes. Or I mean, he was a candidate last year. I don't think he wasn't top 3, but I mean, he was in the conversation for it at least. And I know that he disappeared in the playoffs last year, or that he disappointed a lot of people in the playoffs last year, but I'm pretty sure that he's not going to perform like that during the regular season or even the playoffs this upcoming season. So I'm expecting big things from you, Bam. Don't disappoint me, dog. Gabe Vincent isn't really a guy that we've seen a lot of the last few years, just because he's been on a 2-way deal along with Max Strus, but apparently this offseason he was working out with Bam Adebayo. So I mean, he's making steps towards being a pretty good rotational player, and plus Victor Oladipo is out, so I mean, he's probably going to be the guy that's going to take a majority of the backup point guard minutes this year. Tyler Hero was not good last year, or at least compared to the bubble, he just wasn't good at all. Like, compared to what we saw, he just wasn't the guy that we thought he was going to be. Compared to how he was in the bubble, he was just disappointing. I'm just really hoping that Bubble Hero isn't the end of Tyler Hero's career, or the end of like what Tyler Hero's peak is going to be, because I'm pretty sure that like he's going to find a way to bounce back this year. I mean, the dude literally just had a kid. So, I mean, he's probably going to have that dad strength and come in and wreak havoc on the league like every other person who had a kid does. So, I'm hoping that the dad strength helps you out, Tyler. Just like I said with Gabe Vincent, Max Strus was basically a dude on a 2-way contract who we didn't really see play that much last year. I mean, he played about like 50 games, but still, I still don't really feel like I know much about him other than the fact that he was also working out with Bam and that he'll probably end up being a really good guy. He's a 3-and-D type dude, so I mean, you can't really go wrong with that. Hopefully, one of those things sticks, because not all the time can you be a 3-and-D guy. Hopefully, one of them does, and whatever he does, I mean, I just hope that he contributes somehow. Markieff Morris is going to do what he's been doing the last couple of years, be a stretch 5 who shoots like, what, 30-ish%, so I mean, for a guy to kind of stretch the floor in limited minutes, I mean, I guess it's decent. Dwayne Dedmon was a guy that I looked at to kind of be like a diet Brook Lopez, where he can shoot the ball, he can't really rebound, but he can also protect the rim. But he hasn't really done that since he left Atlanta like a couple years ago. He didn't really play well in Sacramento, where he signed afterwards, and then he was traded to Miami, and we barely got a sample size from him. I think it was only like 16 games. So I'm hoping that, you know, maybe if he gets a full year with Miami, he'll be able to actually bounce back from the last couple of years and hopefully show that he's not actually washed. But if he is, the rookie Omer Yurtseven, or whatever his name is, will probably come in. He played 2 games in the summer league, or at least I only saw him play 2 games in the summer league, and he looked decent, or at least he looked pretty good. He shot the 3, he rebounded well, he had like 25 points, so I mean, I'm hoping that we see that from this year, and I just hope that that summer league showcase just wasn't like what it was, which is just, you know, some preseason action, and he doesn't amount to anything in the real season. As for where I think this team stands, I see them as a 3rd seed this year. Is that a little too high? I mean, with the teams that are falling, like Philly, because we don't really know where they're gonna place, I don't think it is. I do think that, however, their floor is probably a 6th seed, kind of like what they were last year, but like they, even as a 6th seed, didn't look good last year, and I'm just hoping that, you know, they bounce back this year, especially with like the addition of Kyle Lowry. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. I think that they'll be fine this year, especially now that they have Kyle Lowry and they added like so much depth, and they just had one of the best off seasons, honestly. Anyways, guys, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please rate, comment, and subscribe for more content. Shout out to that one guy who left a comment that's like, oh, you're boring or whatever. I didn't ask you, but I mean, thanks for the view, and thanks, you know, thanks, I guess, bro. Anyways, I'll catch you guys tomorrow for my 30 teams in 30 days on the New York Knicks, and yeah, bye, guys.